What's going on, everyone? Today we are taking a look at the Logitech Rally Bar, certified for Microsoft Teams, Zoom, as well as other leading conference room platforms.
The Rally Bar is an all-in-one video conferencing device certified for Microsoft Teams, Zoom Rooms, and other video conferencing platforms. Its Ultra HD 4K PTZ camera provides up to 5 times optical zoom with a wide-angle motorized lens. The secondary AI viewfinder camera does people counting as well as auto-framing using RightSight. The built-in ultra-low distortion speakers use the AI-based RightSound technology, as do the adaptive beamforming mic array, ensuring that the active speaker remains heard while all unwanted noises are drowned out. Additionally, full duplex audio is provided between the speakers and microphones.
Taking a quick look at the back of the Rally Bar, we've got a cover here covering our cable management area. We'll get to all that in 1 second. And then bringing it on over to the far right, we've got a number of buttons to take a look at. On the far left, we've got the reset button. We've also got a Bluetooth connectivity button here. You can pair a number, not just one, of the Bluetooth remotes to each Rally Bar. And then we've got our power button on the far right. The Rally Bar provides for a unique cable management system. You simply unscrew both sides here to remove the cover from the cable management area. With the back cover plate removed, we see that we've got 2 different rows of purple rubber grips on the top and then the bottom. This allows us to run our cables through the top or through the bottom. The back cover plate has a groove on the bottom or the top lining up with each of the rubber grips to allow for your cables to be routed up or down depending on the placement of the Rally Bar and where you need to run cables to. In order to reduce pulling and unplugging of cables from the ports as they're plugged in, the ports are lined up on the left or right side. They are not directly lined up with where the cable management grooves lie. This means that if we have a cable that is coming out of our mic pod, it'll run over here, it'll come down through the grips, and that'll hold it in place. If any little yank or tug happen, the grip will kind of stop it and it won't put any pressure or pull that cable out from its port. Taking a look at our ports on the inside left, we can see that they are all labeled on the outside here as well. We've got our power port right up top. We've got a mic pod USB-C connection right there. And then we've got 3 USB-A ports all on the left. Taking a look at the ports on the right-hand side, we've got our HDMI in up top as well as our USB-C on the bottom. We would use both of these ports to plug a cable into each respective cable type. If the device were going to be used in USB mode or bring your own device mode, that way a USB cable as well as an HDMI cable is available to plug our laptops into, allowing us to utilize the audio, video, and display coming from the Rally Bar on our laptops. For running the device in an appliance mode and having output to displays at the front of room, you've got HDMI out 1 and HDMI out 2. Again, these are 1080p output HDMI connections that will go to either 1 or 2 displays at the front of room. If you're running Teams Rooms, for example, you'll see the Teams Rooms application from the Rally Bar output over these to the display or displays in the room. And finally, we've got an Ethernet connection right here as well. In today's demo, we're going to be setting the Rally Bar up to be a Teams Rooms app, which means that we're going to cable everything up here to connect to a single display. We could use dual, but we're just cabling it up for single display today. We're going to have HDMI in and USB-C below so that we can use the device in USB mode intermittently if we would like. We're going to plug the Ethernet cable in as well, and then we are going to have our power up here. One thing I'll call out here, you'll notice that I didn't mention plugging in this USB-A connection down here. As I said, the things that we were going to plug in. The USB-A is coming from our single display. That single display is a touch display, and the USB capability brings that touch connection between the Rally Bar and the display itself. That means that we can navigate the Teams Rooms app either through our touch display with our fingertip or we can use the remote as well for navigating the UI. And once again, everything else back here, we've got the USB-C and the HDMI in. This is to provide USB mode capability from our laptop. We've got an Ethernet connection here giving us internet connection for the Teams app to connect to. And then the HDMI out, which is our single touch display that we're connecting to. And finally, the power is plugged in up here. Once the power is plugged in at the actual outlet, the device will turn on, so you'll hear it beep a couple times as it goes through its first boot up. With our cables all routed out the bottom here, again, they could all route through the top if we wanted to run cables upward. Maybe you're mounting the Rally Bar below some displays and you want to use the wiring through the wall using the same holes that the displays are using, you would route the wires up. In our case, we're routing them down. We now have this groove at the bottom that will fit over all the cables that are being routed down. We will fit the cover right into place. It should fit comfortably there. We can then screw it back on, and it will keep our cables held firmly in place without being tugged out of their ports. And the cover itself, once you're done, should fit nice and flush over the back of the device. There shouldn't be any gaps or edges hanging over. You can see we are nice and flush here. The cover is mounted properly and our cables are all running out the bottom nice and cleanly. Once we power the Rally Bar on for the first time, it goes through an initial boot up process. We can see the PTZ camera up front going through some of its motions and pre-use checks that it does. And the display behind the device itself was actually going through the boot up process. You can see the LED indicator off to the right of the camera itself. It's a bluish purplish color right now, indicating that we have power and the device is booting up. Couple quick beeps let us know stuff is happening. You see the Logi logo. The screen looks a bit blue here, but it is purple in real life. You know how colors can be when you're recording screens in a video. And it brings us to an initial setup screen. Now, as you can see, it gives us two options for continuing with setup. The first being if we've got a Logitech Tap, that center of room touch controller, then you can plug that in with USB at this stage and you can navigate through the setup screen on the Tap. We are not going to be using a Tap in this video. I do have another video using the Tap and Meetup, which is a whole different experience, but you can check out the Tap there. In this video, we're going to be using that second option, the remote control. Here you see the remote control that comes with the Rally Bar. We're going to be using the directional pad right here to make our selections, and this little button in the center is the selector button. Looking on the screen, it says that selector button is what we need to press 5 times to continue with setup. So I will go ahead and do that. Once it's pressed 5 times, we choose our country. I'm going to leave it to United States, but again, we would use that directional pad to come over and make our selections. I'll go back up here and we'll leave it at United States. For the time zone, we want to change that to Eastern. I am located in the good old crazy state of Florida. And language, we're going to keep it on English United States. That'll keep me the least confused, I assure you. We click next here, read through the agreement if you like. We would encourage you to do that for pretty much any product to make sure you do agree with what you're reading, right? But you would say agree there. Once you do that, the Ethernet cable that is plugged in uses DHCP to establish an initial network connection. When it does that, it does a check for updates. We can see that we've got a critical update required that we must install to proceed. We will say down and select for update now. At this stage, it lets us know that we have about 15 minutes remaining. It lets us know we can grab a cup of coffee. I'm down with that idea. While it downloads our files and installs that CollabOS update. A note on CollabOS. The onboard Android operating system that runs on Rally Bar as well as Rally Bar Mini is called CollabOS. It is Logitech's own flavor and version of Android, and it is what runs all the individual apps for Microsoft Teams Rooms, Zoom Rooms, PECSIP, and the other apps that we will see once we get to that screen.
And once the device finishes its updating, it goes through a quick reboot process, starting in 4, 3, 2, 1, and the device reboots. At this stage, we'll just go ahead and fast forward through a little bit of the reboot process for time's sake. Once we get to the end of the reboot process, we are brought to an initial starting screen that looks for our service providers. A number have been loaded on here. You've got Zoom Rooms, Microsoft Teams, BYOD mode, which is using the Rally Bar and any connected display as USB connected peripherals with your own laptop. We've got Ring Central, Pexip, Go-To Room, and the newest edition, Tencent Meeting. In this video, we're going to be demoing using the Microsoft Teams Rooms app.
Now, we do have the remote control, as we mentioned earlier. We can make our selections that way, but we have also plugged in the USB cable to the Rally Bar so that we can use this touch display. So I'll go ahead and select Microsoft Teams. We have made our selection. We'll click Next. The Rally Bar does ship with a sticker that allows you to cover the button right up in here with a Teams logo. I'm sorry, right down here with a Teams logo. That will be your Teams button, as this is a certified device. The sticker, we can see, comes right down here. You would peel that off, a 3M sticker, and you'd place it right there for your Teams logo. Now, this is just a little prompt. Since we're using this as a certified Teams room, we'll go ahead and click Next. Here we have the option of signing into Logitech's Sync portal, which is an online device management platform where you can get insights about your device, you can get firmware updates, lots of good management capabilities there. For our demo, we are not demoing Sync, so we will go ahead and skip that step. And then we confirm installation. We've got connected accessories, just the one device. We've got equipment tests. There are 4 of them available. We can see all the different network information off to the right-hand side there, the IP address. We've got the fact that we're using Teams. We've got DHCP configured. We've got a DNS and a gateway, subnet mask, all that fun stuff. If we click on our equipment tests, we can see that we can do a camera image test. Let's go ahead and click that. This lets us know that we're going to use buttons on the remote to control the camera. We have PTZ capabilities with this. Let's go ahead and click Start Test. When we start the test, the camera finds us right in the middle of the room. RightSight will kick in. We haven't disabled RightSight through the local sync application settings that you can do if you connect the laptop to the Rally Bar and you have the sync agent running on the laptop. You can go in and turn on or off RightSight and make adjustments there. RightSight is on, so it auto-framed to put me in the center. What it wants us to do now is test out our PTZ controls with the remote. So we will go up, we will go off to the side, we'll go over and take a look at the, let's see, right behind me, got the camera blocking it, but we've got a scribe on the wall, you've got the office over there, and then if we push the center button, that should bring us right back to the home centered place that we started in the first place. So now that we've got our camera test done, we'll go ahead and hit back, and we will say cancel here. We can go over to our test speakers, and we'll push play. Right on. We can adjust our volume down, adjust the volume up. All right, so that is our speaker test. We've got a test microphones. We can press this to test the recording. Hello, we are testing out the recording capabilities of the microphones on the Rally Bar. We'll go ahead and play that. Hello, we are testing out the recording capabilities of the microphones on the Rally Bar. Beautiful. Microphones are good. Network connection, we're successfully connected to our servers. We'll say done there. All of our tests are a success. So we're gonna go ahead and advance to our next slide here, which is using BYOD mode. Even though we've deployed this device in the Microsoft Teams Rooms app, we can still use the Rally Bar in BYOD mode. We would connect a USB cable from our laptop to the USB-C port on the back of the Rally Bar that we saw plugged into earlier. And if we wanted to share local content to the connected display that we're looking at now, you've got that HDMI in on the back of the Rally Bar. We would connect that to HDMI on our laptop. Otherwise, if we're just using USB, you're able to use the speakers, microphone, and camera from the Rally Bar on your laptop for whatever meeting service you're using there. We'll go ahead and skip that tutorial. Set camera presets. So once we are on a call, we can adjust the camera frame to where we want it to be. Then we press and hold the preset button for 5 seconds, and then we'll hear that confirmation beep. Once the preset's configured, we can click that preset button to access the set framing. And that's it. Installation is complete. We're all ready for Microsoft Teams. We come to our login screen. We're gonna go ahead and go over to the, well, you know what? We're gonna go ahead and enter our credentials on the machine here instead of using a computer. But as you can see, like with any other Android device, you can go to microsoft.com/device logon and then enter the code there. We'll say sign in on this device, and this room account will now sign in. It will go through the device registration as we would expect, the company portal page. We're getting signed into Active Directory, and in just a moment, we will have our Microsoft Teams screen.
They're now signed into the Microsoft Teams Rooms app with a personal account rather than a Teams Room account. You can do this on an Android room system. If we go into settings, we will see that we've got a slightly different menu. In addition to all the regular items, you've got sign out, which lets us sign out of the app. Here, we are signed into the Logitech Rally Bar with a Teams Rooms account, meaning it has the Teams Rooms Standard or Premium license assigned. The interface is slightly different. You can see we've got our more settings, we've got the Meet Now button, we've got our share button if we were gonna share with HDMI connection. But clicking on our more button lets us access our settings. We can see that we have a different menu than the personal account. We've got meetings, report an issue, about, and device settings, but it is missing the sign out button. That means we cannot sign out of this device. It is a shared room account. We do not want end users walking in and signing out of this device. Let's go ahead and click the device settings. We are prompted to enter our admin password. We'll go ahead and get that input.
And once we do that, we see the CollabOS settings, all the things that are exposed to us. First up, the sync portal. If we want to connect to the sync portal, we can do that here. There's a number of things, like I mentioned earlier, that you can do with the device management when it comes to Logitech Sync, but we're going to go ahead and skip that for now. Updates, we're all good. We've got that green light. It checks for updates when you click that button, and we're at the latest version. If we go over to display and audio, we can see that we've got some display settings up here. One display connected. We're going to go ahead and leave it at 60 Hertz for now. If we go to audio, we can test our speakers and microphone, which we've already done. You've got speaker boost down here, and this is turned off by default. This increases the max volume of the speakers when the mic pods are connected, and we have no mic pods connected. So when this is activated, the built-in microphones won't be used because you'll be using mic pods. AI noise suppression is on by default. Reverb control is normal by default, but you've got a couple additional settings there. And then you've got equalizer settings for your microphone and speaker. Coming over to our camera settings, you'll see that we've got RightSight built right in as well. By default, RightSight is on and it is set to dynamic, meaning it'll keep looking for you using the AI viewfinder, calculating how many people are in the room and putting the optimized frame to the display. We can make it do on-call start only or turn it off. We can also turn on room occupancy. Right now it's off, but the AI viewfinder will go and count how many people are in the room. And if we have set a room occupancy limit in the sync portal for this room, we will then be able to start getting analytics, and eventually Teams will start putting up warnings if we exceed room occupancy. This is off now. It can be always on or only during meetings. Then we got our camera image test, which we have already done, so we'll skip that. Coming down to connectivity, we've got a green light, meaning we are connected to the local network via DHCP. You've got all those settings in there. We've got wireless connection options if we want to. We have an 802.1x certificate we can configure and then connect to Wi-Fi. You do need to disconnect your wired connection if you're going to do that. We are connected to the Logitech servers. We can run a connection test if we want to, and then we can turn Bluetooth on or off. Peripherals, we've got one remote connected now. We can pair more than one remote if we want to. Mic pods, we show that we have no mic pods connected, but we can connect up to 3 with the Rally Bar and 2 with the Rally Bar Mini. If we go over to System, this is where we can see our service provider is Microsoft Teams. You see Change Service Provider up here. If you say Change Service Provider, then you're going to have to actually go in and select whether you're changing to Zoom or BYOD mode or PEXIP, and then it goes through a reboot process and it's a little bit involved. Of course, just because you've changed your service provider to a different service provider doesn't mean you can just log in and use it. You do have to be properly licensed for whichever application you are running the appliance in. We are licensed for Teams Rooms, so we will leave it at Microsoft Teams here. We've got our regional settings, which were already set at the beginning up here, but there are some formatting options down here as well for your time zone, the way the dates and times are displayed. We've got the ability to upload a CA certificate here, and then our power saving features. Power saving mode is off by default, but maybe we want our displays and the device to kind of go to sleep when it's been 15 minutes of inactivity. We can enable that here, and there are 2 ways to trigger auto wake up. One, if you have a Logitech Tap attached, you can use the Logitech Tap sensor. Otherwise, you can use the built-in AI viewfinder for this. For the display, we can say to turn off the display in power saving mode. If that's activated, the HDMI CEC enabled TVs will automatically turn off, so that is key. I've often seen questions about how come the displays aren't turning off when the device goes into power saving mode. Make sure that HDMI CEC capability is present with those displays. Finally, we go to About, and this gives us all of our device information, all the good stuff you need to know about the model, serial number, host name, all the different firmware versions. We've got analytics and logs turned on by default, and then we can restart the machine, shut it down, do a complete factory reset, or simply just reset the network and wireless settings. Then we can report an issue as well if we need to. That is the end of the Logitech settings configured within CollabOS. We hit the X here, we come back out to our shorter menu that we have for Microsoft Teams Rooms, and we'll just say close. Now we're going to demonstrate joining a Microsoft Teams meeting. We are signed in with our Logitech Rally Bar account on the Rally Bar. You see the meeting that is already on the screen there. We've got our one-touch join button, and we are going to click that join button, join a meeting that's already happening, so we can kind of get a feel for what the Rally camera is doing on the other side. We're not going to be capturing audio, but at least we'll get a sense of the meeting join experience and what the video experience is like on the other side. So we walk up, we click our Rally Bar test meeting join button. It says we're unmuted. Now it says we're muted. We need to be admitted to the call. So we come over here and we say admit. And the Rally Bar is searching for us. It found us on the other side of the room. RightSight's gonna kick in and come back over to me over here. There we go. It sees where I am. Got my scribe up behind me here in the behind the camera, calling the shots. So that is RightSight doing its auto framing. Is using that AI viewfinder that we see right off to the side. In addition to capturing the video through the main camera, the AI viewfinder lets us know, is there one person in the room? Are there two? Are people coming and going? Do we need to adjust the frame as we see people in the meeting? So on our main recording here, we see the video coming in on our display from the laptop joined user. And then on the other display, we've got the a Brio connected to a laptop. and we can see the input from the Rally Bar's video on the laptop screen. So a little bit of a demo, joining a Microsoft Teams meeting. We're gonna go ahead, tap our screen to get our menu back up. We can turn our video on or off. We've got our mute on or off. We can take a look at the participants in the meeting there as well. If we wanted to share something into the meeting, we could. There's no HDMI connected. We go to our menu right here and we've got the lock meeting, turn on live captions, raise hand, turn off incoming video, dial pad, turn off remote control, and then of course we've got our volume up and volume down buttons. Finally, to wrap it all up, you've got the hang up button. So with that, we'll go ahead and click hang up. That ends the call. We can rejoin while it's still up on the screen there briefly. But if we don't click that, we get back to our main Teams Rooms Android screen that we see up there right now. Now I wanted to call out a slightly different setup using the Rally Bar. This is what I call my demo wall. So I've got a couple different room systems up here. The speakers on the side of the displays and the Rally camera in the center. They are a separate room system. They are not actually being used in this scenario. So just kind of ignore those in this example. We've got the Rally Bar that is wall mounted. In the single display setup we already saw, the Rally Bar was sitting on the built-in stand that it comes with. There are a couple screws underneath the Rally Bar on the bottom side there that can be removed. The stand can be taken off, and then there is a optional wall mount accessory that you can get for the Rally Bar so that you can mount it directly to the wall and then run cables below it, into the wall or above it. There is also a TV mount for the Rally Bar and Rally Bar Mini that you can use to mount the Rally Bar directly to the display. If you want that, that also provides for some handy cable management, hiding the cables behind the display. In this case, we've got the Rally Bar with a dual display setup, so both screens are being used by the Rally Bar. We've got the Tap over on the left-hand side. So we do have our remote control for camera, managing our camera, the PTZ capabilities, but the Tap itself is actually our touch controller for this room. And then you'll also notice in the center of the table, we've got a switch that is connected, the Logitech switch. We're not really covering that in this video, though there is another video I've done on it, so you can check that out. And then there is a Rally mic pod sitting in the center of the table. These come in an off-white or a graphite. I've got the off-white mounted using the mic pod mount into the table, and it is connected to the Rally Bar in this scenario. Taking a closer look at the display here, you'll notice it differs from the single display setup we had. Because we didn't have a tap over there, we used our display for actually managing our menu items. We could either use the remote control or touch the touchscreen. Here we have no menu items on the side. We can see our scheduled meeting, but we don't have access to do anything from the screen. Instead, we are using the Logitech Tap sitting on the desktop to manage. This is our center of room touch controller. We manage our meetings with one touch join here. We can do meet now. We can go in here and access our settings, provide feedback. The same settings menu that you saw over on the Rally Bar single display setup applies here as well. It's just laid out a bit differently on our Tap. The Tap here in this case is on a swivel mount. It is using the riser mount, keeping it elevated off the desktop just a bit for optimal viewing angles. There is also a flush mount that allows you to swivel it as well, 180-degree swivel for both those mounts. The mounting options, of course, let you hide all your cabling below the table, through the table, so that you have no cable showing on the desktop. Finally, we've got our mic pod that is attached to the Rally Bar. It is sitting at the center of the table here. You'll notice we've got our mute button right in the center. If we take a look at our Rally Bar right now, it has a green light on that LED indicator, indicating that audio is available and turned on. Coming back down to the mic pod, if we were to tap, we hear a little beep, it turns red, and we come back over to the Rally Bar. That LED indicator is now red, indicating that audio is muted in the room. Coming back down here, unmute, and we see that it is back to the proper color. Keep in mind that the Rally Bar can have up to 3 mic pods attached. If you mute one, all 3 are muted at once. You cannot mute them and unmute them individually. Thanks for watching. I hope this has been helpful as usual. If you are not already subscribed to my YouTube channel, I don't know why not. There is a handy little subscribe button down below. Please hit that so you don't miss out on notifications for the next device overview and how-to video. Please like the video, share it on LinkedIn, retweet it on Twitter, hit up all the social medias, share it with your friends. And again, thank you so much for watching. I hope we'll see you back here for the next device overview video.